Everybody. Welcome to the October 7th, 2016 edition of the Intuit Developer Friday Morning Hangout. I'm your host, David Leary. I am the Intuit Small Business Ecosystem Evangelist. You can follow me on Twitter at David Leary. You can follow Intuit Developer at Intuit Developer. Today we have a special guest, Tristan Sokol. Some of you might be familiar with. He used to be at Intuit at one time. He is now a developer evangelist at Square. He's here to talk about the Square API with us. It is one of the sponsors for the QuickBooks Connect Small Business Tech Hackathon, and they have their own APIs and figured it's a good fit for a lot of our developers and developers interested in solving small business problems to build on the Square API as well at the hackathon. Those of you, just so you don't forget, QuickBooks Connect is October 24th to the 26th. The hackathon's taking place actually on the 22nd and 23rd, so that's Saturday and Sunday. Square will be there, Jibo will be there, Google's AI will be there. We will have hardware technology that we're bringing in for people to hack on, and you can also integrate with the QuickBooks Online API. So we will have a full breadth of products and APIs to hack on, and all we care is that you solve a small business problem or a nonprofit problem, right? You don't have to only connect to QuickBooks when you build something at this hackathon. It's a little different than the previous 2 years. With that said, let me flip off the PowerPoint here and get Tristan up on the screen here. And sorry, I'm using Blue Jeans, and the toggling back and forth is a little slow, so stop sharing. Tristan, you're on.
Super.
Welcome. Thanks for showing up this morning.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
So officially, you're in the Square offices. This is what it looks like.
They're a lot bigger.
In San Francisco?
Yeah, so right downtown, pretty close to the Civic Center, right next door to Twitter. San Francisco.
Okay. Know where that's about. Got it. So I know we were talking a little bit before we started this morning. So I know historically, like Square's APIs were kind of private, right? They didn't have a developer program. They didn't have APIs anybody could access. Now, I think Intuit might have been one of the first companies to actually build on their APIs, and now they're opening their APIs to everybody else. So that's where your role fills in. So what can you tell us about the Square APIs?
Yeah, so you're right. Our APIs are still pretty nascent. The whole team here at Square has joined within the last year and a half or so, and we're all very excited to keep releasing more APIs out to our developers. We really have sort of 3 APIs. You can kind of think about it. Obviously, they all integrate together and work together well, but they allow you to do 3 pretty distinct things. The first one that maybe I'll talk about is the what we call the Register API. And so if you are familiar with Square, we have the hardware that connects to your smartphones or iPads, things like that, that allows you to accept credit cards. And then on the software side of it, we have the Square Register app. And this app is essentially your point of sale system if you're using our hardware or if you're not. And we wanted to allow developers to build their own sort of point of sale systems without having to integrate all of the hard work in building a connection to the hardware or having to become PCI compliant, like all this sort of stuff that traditionally would be a challenge in building a point of sale system. So we have the Register APIs, which allow you to build iOS and Android applications that perform what we call app switch. So let's say you make a custom Android point of sale app, whatever, like if you're dog walking business or your, whatever construction business you might have, you have a custom point of sale system. So while you're going through the checkout flow, you have your Square Reader plugged in or connected over Bluetooth. Whenever you do the actual checkout, that pushes an intent to the Square Register app for Android or iOS, depending what platform you're on. And so you'll be in the middle of your point of sale solution. Then we actually switch over to the Register app seamlessly. And so the credit card acceptance and the payment methods are all done with the Square Register app. And then when it's done, we switch back over to your point of sale system, and you get your confirmation screen of the order that just happened. So
I'm a developer using a pet. So I built some software for pet sitting, and I'm running my whole pet sitting. My clients run their whole pet sitting business out of the software, but previously they might have had a separate Square dongle, and they'd launch the Square app separately, and they would charge their customer. Now I can build that functionality kind of in my app.
Yeah.
They don't have to leave the app. Gotcha.
Yeah. So great for building custom point of sales. And then we also have sort of what we call the e-commerce APIs, and this is more focused on web, though a lot of people use it on mobile for web views. And so what this is essentially a form that you embed into your web page. It's a form that includes what's your credit card number, what's your first and last name, what's your zip code, expiration date, that kind of stuff. And that form's actually hosted by us. So you're embedding these iframes. So you have the ability to style it and whatever, but the actual form itself lives on Square servers, and we take care of all the privacy and data around that. And so what you do is
is that fairly new? Is that fairly new offering?
Yeah, so that actually we released that I think in April or the end of March maybe.
Okay.
So within the last few months.
So previously, a Square customer, if a Square customer would be using Square's point of sale or Square's swiper, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then if they were brick and mortar and they were also e-commerce, they'd have to go get. They just basically at that time like, well, I can't use Square to accept payments on my website. Right. I have to use another different product. Got it. So you guys so it's actually from the consumer standpoint or the customer standpoint, the small business owner standpoint, it really makes sense. Now I don't have to open up a second merchant account to take credit cards on my website. Right.
Yeah. I mean, we want to allow people to accept payments in whatever format they want, right? And a big part of that is that as if you have a brick and mortar store that you also accept your online sales through the Square e-commerce APIs, then all those sales get rolled up into your reporting. It all just sort of works together, which is a lot easier for the end user. So we have those e-commerce APIs, and that's something that we think is really exciting offering. It's still pretty new. It allows a whole breadth of sort of e-commerce options, not just for brick and mortar stores, but if you want to just sell your thing online, if you have mobile apps that you want to use just the e-commerce APIs to take your credit payments, it's definitely been the area of highest growth for us recently. And it's exciting to see some of the applications that come out using it.
And so a small business owner who kind of can edit their own website, they could just drop that in, right? There's some JavaScript or HTML they paste in. And then developers, they can take that a level deeper and actually put that into their app. You can put it in their mobile apps.
Yeah. And so we want to make it easy for people who aren't as technical, easy for people who are more technical. And so you have the option to sort of just drop it in, or you can take it further in putting it into your mobile application or doing custom stylings or special use cases, depending on how technically proficient you are. And we're actually we're always looking to expand our offerings of in the spectrum of technical development. And so maybe if you're not as technical, we might have some stuff coming out in the future that it's even easier for you to accept payments. So that's very exciting for us.
So if I'm a developer and I'm like, all right, hey, I want to hack on the Square API, I want to integrate it, I want to build something using the Square APIs at the Quickbooks Connect Hackathon here in 2 weeks, 14 days, whatever. It's very, very soon. It's so close. I can't digest how close the date is now. I think we're 14 days out, 12 days. It's super, super close. But so is it something where, hey, 2 weeks before, people need to go to your website, sign up as a developer, get approved, or can they just wait till that morning to hit your site and become a developer? Kind of give the overview, like if I'm ready to integrate with you and start working with your APIs as a developer, what's my next step? What do I have to do?
Yeah, so we hope to make it as easy as possible to Hackathon, but all you have to do is go to squareup.com/developers and create your account there. Depending on what kind of APIs you're going to be using, you might have to add some more information, but even as if you're a Square merchant, we allow you to start taking credit cards within 5 minutes. And so if you, for example, want to use the e-commerce APIs where you're going to be accepting payments, we're going to need a little bit more information from you in terms of making sure that you're not a fraudster, basically. But that's all. It's just a couple more forms that you have to fill out. If you're using things like the register API.
So that's kind of real time. I don't have to go through. It's like a 48-hour approval process or anything like that.
Oh no, absolutely. You can go through it if you have your, if you know your name and your address, then you can go through it.
Okay. Got it. So I forgot I was going to ask this. So do you have sandboxes? And because I think credit cards is interesting, right? Like, how do you test that? Do you run? I know some developers are like, I just run charges through my real credit card, and I run refunds through my real credit card. Like how do you guys account for that, or obviously enable developers to do that without using their personal credit cards?
Yeah, there's a couple ways. We do have an API sandbox for the e-commerce APIs, and so if you just switch your endpoints over to the sandbox endpoints, you don't charge your real, you're not getting real charges. It says it goes through, but it actually doesn't actually go through. And you don't have, and you can view your charges with the sandbox APIs, looking at them, but it doesn't actually, if you're a Square merchant, it doesn't actually go into your real Square account. So you don't have to worry about messing that up with the APIs using the sandbox. And we also have something I've recently learned about payments, but there's all these sort of like fake and testing credit cards that are out there. And so we have a couple listed on our site that you can just try out with these credit cards that don't actually, that'll get approved, and like you can put any expiration date and any zip code on, but they don't actually go anywhere. They will error out at the end.
Okay, got it. So, like I said before, you used to be into it. So you obviously got exposed to the QuickBooks APIs and the QuickBooks ecosystem of all the apps and the small business scene in general. Now you're kind of experiencing it from a different side. So you're probably in a magic spot where, like, is there anything exciting or things you're imagining? You're like, oh my God, if that one app I saw at one time with QuickBooks used the Square API, that would be amazing. Or some use case or needs. Like what's your take, or what excites you about the opportunity of this? Especially with the event coming up.
Yeah, well, I think that what's really interesting about Square and Intuit, a lot of the applications that I think take advantage of the stuff from Intuit, whether it's time tracking, inventory management, employee management, they have the opportunity to get that information from Square as well. So if they want to add another data source to their application, a lot of those endpoints and data stores Square offers as well. So you can pull the transaction list from a Square business, pull the employees and stuff from Square business, which I think people might want to add that to their app. But also we have this payments functionality that I think a lot of the small business developers have had trouble picking out where exactly they want to get that from, because there's a lot of different solution providers in that space, and some of them are more and less complex to integrate with, and get the payment and fee structures different. So I think that really the ability to get some of the standard information, as well as being able to add payments and additional functionality on top of that is going to be exciting for the people at the Hackathon.
Okay. And if I integrate the Square Payments functionality onto my website, I can take American Express, Visa, MasterCard, Discover. There's no limitations.
If it's on a card, you can take it.
Got it. And do you guys do any like gift card type management stuff? Can I use Square to issue gift cards to my customers? Is there APIs for that kind of stuff?
That's something that we're looking into, because loyalty programs obviously very important to small businesses, but that's not an API we currently have available, though. Knock on wood, maybe someday soon.
Okay. And then you guys are starting to offer, and the reason I know this is out of nowhere I started getting this one coffee place I go to. I every other day I'm getting an email from them powered by Square, direct marketing. So is that just built into the point of sale now? Is there API calls for some of that direct marketing stuff?
Yeah, well, that's something that we're obviously trying to put our merchants first and trying to enable them to grow their business. And marketing is usually a problem, or not necessarily a problem, but a difficult point for small businesses. And so what you're seeing there is the coffee shop owner or wherever you went is looking at these different lists of people, like, maybe people who used to come every week, but hasn't come the last few weeks, or is on the verge of becoming a client of a different coffee shop. Maybe you fall into that category, and so they're able to send some direct marketing campaigns to you. Though that's not something that the API really has functionality. I think that would be sort of want for abuse if you could just set up a bunch of emails to your customer lists. But we are looking into, there's been a lot of demand for solutions that allow you to have a higher touch with your customers. And so that's something that we're also looking into. APIs are still kind of new, and so there's a lot of functionality yet to be built out. But we're still trying to figure out what areas are best open for the developers.
Yeah, I think it's always that balance, right? Like, how much stuff do you keep building into the Square platform yourself versus enabling the APIs and letting all the other developers build it? Because do you become a Marketo, right? Or do you just enable integration with the Marketo, right? Like, it's that fine line of like, where do you stop? When we have the same growth, the same problems, right? Like, where do we stop, right? Like, how much features do we put into QuickBooks? Or, and the reality is, we could add 800 features a year for the next 20 years and it'll never be done. Or figure out a way to let developers do it faster, right? And that's kind of what, having APIs has really enabled that. So at the QuickBooks Connect Hackathon, you're going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have some coworkers there. You guys
have some engineers. Yeah. We're hoping to have like a whole, maybe just like a whole little master sheet game plan of how to get up and running with APIs as fast as possible. All the sample code built out, all the starter apps you could need. Really, want to make it as easy as possible.
And you're bringing all the hardware, so it'll be the Square Reader, the point of sale. I know you guys have the chip card readers now. Like, you bring in the whole plethora of
we'll
stuff.
be bringing some of them for people who want to maybe accept payments with credit card right there. Some of we offer a lot of different register options, and some of them are pretty big, so I don't know if I'll haul them all down there. But we'll definitely have readers on hand for people who do want to try out accepting credit cards. They should be able to, definitely.
Awesome. Do you guys do like barcode scanning stuff yet? Is there hardware for barcode scanners for Square registers, or is it still just touch interface?
Though that's one of those areas that developers have kind of been picking up in terms of having, if you have a bunch of inventory items, being able to scan them and integrate with the inventory management and ordering. That's been definitely a area for developers right there.
Got it. Awesome. Cool. This is very exciting. I'm so glad you're coming. I'm really glad that we're able to have this Small Business Tech Hackathon this year at QuickBooks Connect. That's going to be just focused on any small business problem, right? Not just integrate with QuickBooks. And so I think we're going to see a more diverse set of solutions. And obviously with you coming, and this is a whole wide open set of new problems that could be solved with you being there. But I also see some of our existing devs that are like, I've always wanted to take payments in my app. Well, they can come there, you're there. Maybe, they knock it out in a day and a half, and now they can take payments in their app. So maybe it's not a new solution, but for their customers, that's a huge deal. It's a really big deal. I know me personally, I got stuck managing 2 soccer teams, so I'm the treasurer. And there's this app, this team app. And me collecting money from people is really hard. And I would love if just inside the app, just pay me, right? So like that app, this like team management app needs to have, use the Square API and allow people to pay right through the app, because it's like, it is a little on the difficult side. People write you checks, you get pictures of every check. It's crazy, right? So if they could just pay in the app, that would be huge. So that's just my personal experience with one little, like 2 soccer teams, right? So I could just, the opportunity is just everywhere because money's always changing hands, right? So people always need payments. It's a good business to be into. Cool. Any closing thoughts from you? If not, we can wrap up, and I will see you in a couple days.
Yeah, no, it looks like there probably aren't any questions, but yeah, I think we're excited to be there. I think there's a lot of touch points for either existing QuickBooks developers, for people who are interested in small business space. I think there's just a lot of opportunity for some new product ideas and synergies at the event. So yeah, we're excited.
And is there anybody, I'm going to go back and share my PowerPoint deck here just to bring up all the speakers. And one, pulling that up, are you guys giving out any prizes at the event?
Yeah, we've been having a hard time picking out the perfect one, but I think the new Google announcement, we might be giving out Google Homes to people who compete with us, who end up using the Square APIs or building something on top of them. Looks like a pretty cool new gadget. I haven't seen one yet. It's like the Amazon Echo for Google, yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay, that could be cool. Yeah, I would love this if we even had those in for sure. That's exciting. I think one of the things developers told me is they leading up to QuickBooks Connect and researching it and by asking developers what they want to do, and some developers are just like, I always want to play with new technology and Internet of Things, but I just never have time, right? So I'm like, okay, let's try to bring that to you. At least spend a day and a half, 2 days hacking on this stuff, and then going from there. So those of you that are interested in coming to the QuickBooks Connect Hackathon, go to quickbooksconnect.com. The hackathon, like I said before, is going to take place October 22nd and 23rd. So that's the Saturday and the Sunday. It's $25. Once you get to the QuickBooks Connect website, you can navigate to the developers pages and see the information about the hackathon, and the links will take you through to the Eventbrite page to get you registered. As you can see, we have a great list of keynote speakers, and Third Eye Blind's playing. But Tristan, who are you really looking forward to seeing and why?
I think that the Olympics is such a cool thing. Some of the things that they do are just really superhuman. So anytime I can get in a room with an Olympian is something that I want to see. So that's what I'm excited for.
That's cool. Yeah, it should be pretty energizing. It should be amazing. So
absolutely
awesome. I will see you then. What is the actual date? Let me go to the website really fast, so that way I can tell everybody exactly how many days are left here.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. I'm glad you reminded me.
So it's 16 days. So the hackathon then would be 13 days away. So we're less than 2 weeks out for the start of the hackathon. So I'll see everybody on the morning of October 22nd in San Jose at San Jose Convention Center, bright and early. Hackathon's registration start at 10 a.m. and I'll see you guys there, probably a little bit before that.
See you soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tristan, and I will see everybody next week, where we'll be having Jibo, which is like an API robot that people can hack on at the hackathon also. So see everybody next week. Bye.
Bye.